Hi everybody, it's Carmen here. It is Tuesday, time for our life coach question. I was doing some things that I had gone through with people, and I kind of ran out of things to say, because as I was going to share some other things, I realized, well, wait, I can't share that because that's kind of confident, and even if I don't use the same name or the same circumstance, it's a unique circumstance, and even if nobody else figures it out, that person might figure it out. So there was only a few things that I could actually use, unless I actually did a session with somebody online. That's not a bad idea. Maybe we'll do that. If you like that, make a little notation. Would you like to see a session actually happen online? Here's a person that's asking, how do I begin a full-time ministry? Well, that's like, there's so many different aspects of ministry. There's tons of them. And if you're to begin a full-time, you can't just begin a full-time. You have to start part-time in ministry and graduate to full-time. But if your goal is to get to a full-time ministry, then I might be able to help you along. The thing I don't know, and what I would need to in a life coaching session, is I'd want to talk to you about what type of ministry, what are your skills, what excites you, what turns you on, what makes you feel effective. Do you sing? Do you pray? Are you some sort of an interceder? Do you have a prophetic anointing? Do you have a teaching anointing? Are you a preacher? Are you a writer? Are you a novelist? Are you writing books, curriculum? I don't know what type of ministry we're talking about. A youth pastor, a senior pastor, a children's ministry. Just to say ministry could mean a million different things. So what I'll have to do is just kind of create something around it. And let's say, since I know some stuff about music ministry, I'll approach it as music ministry. And then I think some of the principles can be applied. The best way to begin a full-time ministry is to begin ministry first. And if you are, let's say you're a singer, I'll go by my experience, right? I was a singer. I was working full-time in clubs and bars and honky-tonks and rinky-dinks when I was 16 through 20 years old. So I was always working full-time. I would do 3 nights a week at one place, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sometimes I would play at a Holiday Inn, just me and my guitar. Then I would get with another band that was a country band. They played Tuesday nights at the Silver Saddle. And so I'd play all country music, and I'd be playing guitar there. Then I had another group I worked with where I played drums and I sang, which was very hard because it's hard to play drums and sing. It's something backwards about it. But I was just, wherever I could get work, I could get work. Well, then I became a Christian and I didn't know what to do. And I didn't want to go back into the clubs because I felt like if I went back there, I would get back into another lifestyle, and I didn't want to go get back into that. So I had to kind of stay out of the clubs. So now what do I do? Well, I started to write songs at home, and the only option I had to express myself musically was to play the guitar with the piano and the organ on church on Sunday morning. That was it. That was all I had. So it was the only game in town, so I played it. So as I started to do that, I just figured out, okay, well, how do I make this piano and organ thing sound better? So I would find different things I could do on the guitar that were a little more rhythmic and percussive sounds to give it some sort of a beat, because we didn't have drums. This is 76. In church, most churches didn't have drums. So, and then eventually, I'd be writing songs and I'd ask if I could sing a song. And they say, well, sure. So then they give me a little space to sing a song. And my first space was like on a Tuesday night Bible study, which not a whole lot of people went to, Tuesday night Bible studies. And so, but that was it. It was the only game in town, so that's what I did, a Tuesday night Bible study. So what I'm telling you here is that if you have a passion for any form of ministry, whatever that is, go and do it now. Now is the time. If you're a singer, go sing somewhere. I mean, everything I did, I didn't get paid for anything. Nothing. I get paid for nothing for like 5 years, man. Everything was for Jesus, if you know what I'm saying. But I just had this gift and I needed to expand and expound on it. If you're serious about ministry, you'll find opportunities to use whatever talents you have as volunteer. Just look for them. If you're waiting for something to come grab you, you're probably not called into the ministry. Ministry comes from inside of you and needs to give out. It needs to come out. It needs to be displayed, whether you get paid or whether you don't, whether you get a good offering or a bad offering, whether they pay you what you're worth or pay you far less than what you could ever be worth. So that has nothing to do with anything. The only thing that has anything to do with you is what's inside that needs to come out. God will take care of all the rest of it. So I say grow where you're planted. Look for any opportunity. And if somebody says, would you do this? Just say yes. Of course. I went with people singing in hospitals, playing the guitar. Well, they sang. I didn't even sing. They sang. But it was an opportunity. It was something. It was music. It was ministry. It was around the camp. Close enough. I played with the guitar and the organ while other people sang. That was the only thing I could do. I sang for 20 people at a Bible study who weren't asking for me to sing. And that's the only thing I could do. In the church I went to, they had like a movie night on a Friday night. And they needed somebody to host it. They needed somebody to open up the doors, make sure nothing happened, close the doors. So I would host it because I would get to sing a song ahead of time. And maybe I get to sing a song at the end and maybe have an altar call, which I never gave before, but I would practice giving altar calls. But it was something. It wasn't, it wasn't like selling records. I wasn't making any records, but it was something I could do. So if you really want to get started in the ministry, start working where you're at now. Now's the most important time. Do something with your talent now. If you make your ministry go deeper, God will bring it out and make it broader. That's the best I can tell you. Because ultimately I would get discovered, or so to speak, I get a big opportunity to go record. Because somebody asked if I would come sing at a church while someone else was singing, and I could sing 2 songs ahead of time. And I went and sang 2 songs ahead of time, and there was a manager out there. He says, yeah, you ought to be recording. I'm like, yeah, man, I've been doing this 6 years. He says, well, let's talk. And then things started to move. But that's how it happens. He who is faithful in little, God will give rulership over much. Are you faithful in the little things? That's what God has to work with. Not if you're in some big time ministry. Because by then, it's too late. People that get there have to work their way, brick by brick, to that position. Trust me.